Hello and welcome into the final regular season recap from Into the Knicks-Verse. What an incredible season. Didn't end on a high note. I know. We gave up 141 points to the Indiana Pacers, who were playing without most of their best players. However, it was a triumphant season regardless. The New York Knicks finish 47-35 as predicted by Into the Knicks-Verse. This is actually from my predictions video at the beginning of the season. Here it is. This is it. If all goes right, can Knicks be a playoff team? That was the question mark down below. Well, I would say everything went right. Everything went right since December 4th, when Thibs shortened the rotation. Everything has gone right in general for the Knicks. Emmanuel quickly popped. He became one of the most, sixth man of the year. He's going to win sixth man of the year, no doubt. And he's definitely one of the best point guards coming off the bench. If he's sixth man of the year, he's the best point guard coming off the bench in the entire NBA. So there's that. Number two, Julius Randle returned to being his all-NBA self, and he is most likely going to end up on a third-team All-NBA. That's what's I'm hearing predictions right now. Jalen Brunson, the off-season signing, turned out to be the best free agent signing in all of the NBA last season. This season. Last off-season, I mean. Outstanding. Turned out to be more than anybody could have dreamt of him becoming. He basically picked up from playoff Brunson that helped lead the Dallas Mavericks to the Western Conference Finals a year ago. He picked up right from there and has now led the New York Knicks back to the playoffs for this only the second time in 10 years. Outstanding. Outstanding. And he's basically played himself. He is a bona fide top 10 point guard. The deal that even I criticized the amount of money we gave him by only a few million here and there. Even that makes me look silly. The man is worth every penny, if not more, and he will get his payday, a bigger payday eventually. But outstanding signing. What has happened to his team that he left? Cratered. Right now they're tanking for the end of the season just so that we don't get their first round pick. That's how things have changed so dramatically in the Knicks world, the Knicks-Verse. Right now, the Knicks are the ones that are not tanking. It's other teams that don't want us to benefit. This is the situation that we're in right now. Outstanding. I can't stop smiling because when you think back at the arc of this season, it got off to a rocky start. Thibs' head was on the chopping block. It's been reported. It wasn't my feelings. It wasn't just my requests here or anyone else in the content world here who was asking for things like that, for those kind of changes. Thibodeau finally made some big decisions, and he took the team into a different direction. But all along, it was Jalen Brunson who provided the confidence up and down this roster. His leadership, his taking ownership when the team plays poorly, his deflecting to other teammates when he has an outstanding game. He is the perfect type of leader for the modern NBA game. And the two concerns that I had about him coming into this season, number one was his defense. Which is why early on, once he was signed, Grimes had to be the starting shooting guard. Had to be. Now, it was looking like he was going to be that way in the very beginning of the season, but he got off. He was hurt, so he wasn't able to start. And then eventually, when he was healthy enough, he worked his way through it. Thibs followed through and started him next to Brunson because you had to have some defensive presence out there on the perimeter. You couldn't just have Brunson be the point of attack defender. He was constantly going to get burned, and we saw it happen many times. Now, does he make up for it in taking charges and getting steals and being pesky? Yes, but that was a concern, and Thibodeau addressed it, which kudos to him. Number two, was whether Brunson was going to shoot enough from the three-point line to make him a legitimate threat from there. And not only has he done, he's superseded it. The man shot over 40% from behind the three-point line on very good volume. In fact, I should have that up here. Should have had that up here, right here. But either way, his volume was up. I think he was only averaging about 3 shot attempts last year, and about 3.5. That has to be up to at least 4.5, 5 shot attempts this season. The next thing, like I mentioned before, it was Emmanuel Quickley. Was he going to find his shot? Was he going to level up? Who amongst the young core of the Knicks was going to level up? Well, we've had several. IQ, Grimes, I would even say Mitch has leveled up in a lot of ways. And then was the bench going to be able to provide the spark that they needed from that second unit? For long stretches of the season, the moderate amount of stretches of the season. I want to say long but there were definitely 2-3 week periods there where the bench was the most productive unit of the Knicks. And there it is, the seesaw, the roller coaster we got on, the 9-game winning streak, the 5-game losing streak, then a 4-game, constant streaks. It was such a roller coaster ride, but in the end, it all came together when Leon Rose made the trade for Josh Hart. When he came to this team and played on this team beginning February 10th, this became a completely different squad. That bench unit that by that point of the season was struggling, and Cam was just sitting on the bench wasting away. Fournier would get some minutes here and there when guys were injured and stuff, but bringing in Josh Hart, his intensity, his energy, his ability to rebound in traffic from a guard position, his coast-to-coast ability, get the rebound, take it all the way for a layup, get those easy points, outstanding. Him on the break, outstanding. His defense alone makes him worth the trade. And then his offense was outstanding in the very beginning. He's leveled off. In fact, he ended this fabulous, part of his season with the Knicks by getting thrown out of the game late in the fourth quarter. 2 technicals. And he was fouled on that play. The hand, I think it was Matherin, or whoever it was, Nemhard, I can't remember who it was, or maybe it was Nesmith. His hand was on Hart's hand. He got fouled, and the ball went out of bounds, and I believe he got thrown out because he complained. So that's how he ended up. But he was an outstanding piece. Isaiah Hartenstein, when he got signed, we were like, hey, wait a second. We finally got ourselves a stretch 5, and we got Mitch back. So now we have the best of both worlds. How is that going to work? But Hartenstein got off to a slow start with the Knicks. Thibs tried to transition him away from what makes him special, a special big, to kind of be a B-level version of Mitch when he comes off the bench. Finally, now in the past couple of months, I would say month and a half, almost 2 months now, Hartenstein, and it could coincide with Hartenstein's Achilles feeling 100%. He did mention at some point during the middle of the season that he started off the year, he was hurting a little bit. He was like around 80%. Well, now that he finally got to 100%, and he played 100% of the games this season. He was one of only 10 or 12 players in the entire NBA that have played all 82, and Isaiah Hartenstein is one of them. But his game has exploded. He is now one of the best passing bigs out there on the floor. His passing is outstanding, and his ability to defend has finally come together and making we have a tremendous presence in the middle at all times, whether it's Mitch or Isaiah Hartenstein out there on the court. Though today, I will say there were moments there, but it's hard to judge the defense here in these last few games because no one's trying to get hurt. So it was like defense optional, like Mike Breen was saying in the broadcast. But even still, when the Knicks were clamping down and trying to get stops, there was a moment there where Isaiah, for some reason, he came up to double team Nemhard and then took a step back I think he was worried about boxing out his defender behind him, but he again gave a free look to Nembhard. So it's like those are the kind of moments, those are the kind of decisions that he's going to have to correct, especially in the playoffs, because now you're playing against the best competition in the NBA every night, and we're going up against the Cleveland Cavaliers. That's right, the New York Knicks. After all that drama this last summer, Spida, along came a Spida. The Knicks gonna get Spida. What's happening? What's the deal? Is Danny Ainge, playing fair? Blah, blah, blah. In the end, we didn't get him. We didn't overpay for him, which I was very happy about. But he goes to the Cleveland Cavaliers, who is going to be the first round opponent in the playoffs for the Knicks. Perfect. I mean, this is probably the most anticipated, excited, and the playoff series, the first round series that most people are most excited about throughout the NBA, whether you're a Knicks fan or not. This is the matchup. It's got all the drama. The key will be winning that first game, just the way the Hawks did it to us 2 years ago. Now, if you're worried, if you're there at home, worried that we might have a repeat this year in the playoffs of what happened to us 2 years ago, the last time we were in the playoffs, I'm here to soothe your fears. We will not have the same result. This will not be a gentleman's sweep. Absolutely 100% will not be. If it is, then the Cavs will win it all. I'm telling you. If the Cavs have the ability to gentleman's sweep these Knicks with Brunson back and with Randall back at least for game 3, which is what I'm thinking, then the Cavs have it all together. They're clicking and they got it all together, and they will go deep. They will go deep. There's no doubt. But there's no way it's happening. This time we actually have an all-star level point guard, Jalen Brunson. Randall is playing better than he played 2 years ago and has figured a lot out in his game, and his three-point shot now is for real. It's not predicated on empty gyms, empty arenas. He has actually really fully done the work, and he has become, one of the most lethal big men shooting the three right now. Fantastic. And we now have Mitch Robinson, which we did not have 2 years ago. And we have Isaiah Hartenstein. 2 years ago, we had Nerlens Noel, which, and Taj, which, they gave you some decent quality minutes defensively here and there, but they do not do what Isaiah Hartenstein can do. There's just no comparison. Look at Hartenstein is taking the ball from the top of the key and driving and laying it up. That's something that we just have not had. The bench, the young core. The young core is now a little older, a little more seasoned, and two of them have leveled up. Well, I count Mitch in there too as well, but he's a little older now. But Grimes, we did not have a Quentin Grimes 2 seasons ago, who is tremendous off the ball, on the ball. He fantastic point of attack defender. He can switch, and his three-point shot is now becoming a tremendous lethal weapon. RJ Barrett, he is the big question mark, the very big question mark, and I will get to him a little bit later. Let's move on to this. Knicks lost the final game of the season, 141-136 to the Indiana Pacers, who stuck around. When I saw that the Knicks were losing at halftime, 73-71, I was shaking my head. I was like, what the hell is going on here? Defense was definitely optional. But look at this beautiful sight right here. I believe this is the final Eastern Conference standings right here. The New York Knicks finished 5th, 4 games behind the Cleveland Cavaliers, who made that big trade for Spida, and we did not. We finished 2 games above the Brooklyn Nets, who shout out to them for finishing in the 6th seed after trading away KD and Kyrie. So they got some quality players back. The Nets are in good shape. at this point. They have a nice solid unit there. I don't know what they're going to do in the offseason, but who knows what they're going to do in this playoffs. It's going to be interesting because they will play against the Sixers in the first round. Miami finished 7th. Atlanta finished 8th. Toronto 9th. And Chicago, I believe, they got the 10th seed there. So the play-in is going to be very interesting. A lot of closely matched teams. So I would put the Heat in a tier above the Atlanta, Toronto, and the Bulls. But the New York Knicks, 47-35. I love the way that looks. I love it. Oh, here we go. Knicks Muse tweeted this out. Mitchell Robinson today, 9 points, 19 rebounds, 13 offensive, 6 blocks, 3 dimes for him. Now they say first player in NBA history with 12+ offensive rebounds, 6+ blocks, and 3+ assists in one game. Interesting. First player in NBA history. Didn't know that. I don't know how they even found that stat, but shout out to Knicks Muse for putting that out. I appreciate all the work that you guys do. It's fantastic. Same with NBA New York. The scoring star of the game for the Knicks was Obi Toppin in the final game of the season, just the way he did it a year ago, where he finished with a career high 42. Today he finishes with 34 points, team high today. 7 rebounds for him. Excellent. Remember, last time he had a great game. Last time he scored 36, I believe, and he only had 1 rebound. So this is a very positive sign to see him with 7 rebounds. 5 assists from him, too. Shot 54% overall. And just to point this out here, this was interesting, and this is NBA _New York basketball. They picked this up from Clyde, what Clyde said during the broadcast, and I'm glad they tweeted this out because I was thinking about, oh, maybe I'll record it or whatever, but they put this out, so it lets me talk about it. Clyde on Obi, quote, "Looks like Toppin might have made the quantum leap, folks. The way he's moving and grooving, he's augmented his game with the penetration, just has to rebound a little more and tighten up his defense to see more playing time." This is, I agree with what Clyde is saying here. Obi looks like he has figured something out, and I think that's what he meant by quantum leap. I think it's a little bit of a overstretch, because I'd like to see Obi, play this way for like at least a month and a half stretch to be able to say that it's a quantum leap. But I know what he's talking about. He is now attacking the basket. He has an idea of what he's going to do when he attacks the basket. It's not just hope. It's not just trying to do it with just overwhelm the guy physically. He's actually applying moves. He's looking to split defenders. I am loving what I'm seeing from Obi. Need to carry that into the postseason. Now, rotations tighten up in the postseason. Obi might be someone whose minutes, even though he barely gets enough minutes now, might even see less. However, there's a chance that Tom Thibodeau sees something, sees an opportunity to have Obi out on the floor to get those easier buckets. And his size is going to be important against a Mobley and Jarrett Allen. Against that Cleveland front court, you're going to need an active player like Obi who, his shot from the three-point line is outstanding right now. He's so locked in. Draw those guys out. Draw those guys out from the paint so Brunson, RJ, Randall, Hart, Grimes, they can penetrate, and then that's how you draw them out, because you're not going to draw those guys out with Josh Hart shooting threes. You're going to draw them out with Obi Toppin shooting and hitting threes. This is a weapon that needs to be utilized by Tom Thibodeau, especially in this Cleveland Cavaliers series. And especially considering Julius may not be ready for game 1. So we're not sure. He's going to be reevaluated soon this week, coming up April 13th. I think on Thursday he's going to be reevaluated. But the first game is probably going to be almost a week from now, next Saturday, April 15th. Could be April 16th. Could be a week from now. We're not sure yet. But it's definitely going to be next weekend. It's going to be game 1. Not sure Randall's going to be ready. So Obi is going to be instrumental in this series against the Cavs. And he's also someone who needs reps. He needs to be out there constantly. He needs to have that. The 12 minutes, 10 minutes, 8 minutes he gets per game is just not enough, which is why we never see Obi really kind of unlock. But when he finally gets to 20 minutes, 24 minutes, even 18 minutes, just in that realm, you start seeing him getting into a groove. And his teammates have to find him. They have to find him. And it's starting to happen. Ian Begley tweeted this out, and I just wanted to point it out as well because it was nice to see, especially, and happy holidays to everyone who celebrates Easter or Passover or whatever. Happy holidays to everybody. Ian Begley tweeted this out. Julius, and the reason I mentioned is because Julius was at the Garden with his family, and it was a really nice sight to see. Julius Randle's on the bench with his teammates today. He isn't wearing a boot on his injured ankle, which seems like a positive development in his rehab. Knicks say Randle will be reevaluated on April 13th, 2 days ahead of the opening date of the playoffs. All right, well, here, we'll look at the stats here real quickly, because this game it's meaningless per se, but it's I would like to have gotten this win. Definitely would have rather have the Knicks finish obviously 48-34, but it didn't happen. It didn't happen despite a tremendous offensive game from these Knicks. They put up 136 points and lost. That's how bad the perimeter defense was. That's how bad the perimeter defense was. It was just atrocious. But like I mentioned before, Obi 34 points, 5 of 10 from the three-point line for Obi, and 5 of 10 on from the three-point line from Quentin Grimes. Those are great signs right there. I love seeing that. I would love to have seen Quickly with an equally as efficient type of three-point shooting today, but at one point he was like 1 in 10, I think, or 1 in 9. So at least he picked it up a little bit. They finished 3 and 11, 9 boards for him, 7 dimes, 30 points for Emmanuel Quickly. So 2 Knicks with 30 points. RJ Barrett finishes with 18 points on 7 of 16 shooting in 37 minutes. Finally hit a three-point shot. He had gone 0 for 11 since he came back from his injury. Finally hit a three-point shot from the top of the three-point arc to finish 1 for 3 from behind the arc there. Only 2 rebounds for him. I thought I saw him get more rebounds. I think sometimes the team rebounding situation takes some rebounds away from RJ. But had 3 dimes, even though he made several good passes throughout the entire game, but his other teammates just weren't connecting on them until the fourth quarter. He ended up fouling out. 6 fouls. Oh, interesting. I didn't realize he fouled out. Quentin Grimes, 32 minutes, 8 of 13, 5 of 10 overall, 22 points, only 1 rebound, but 3 dimes for him. The shot attempt distribution is going to have to shift between Barrett and Grimes. I want them to have at least equal amount of shot attempts. And whoever's hotter, if someone is significantly hotter, that player should get more shot attempts on those nights. So that's just the way it's going to have to go if the Knicks are going to have to win. Isaiah Hartenstein, 21 minutes. He had a nice bounce-back game because I didn't think he had a very good game the previous night. 5 assists for him, but only 2 rebounds, 8 points, 4 of 7. Deuce finally hit a three-point shot. He has been struggling from the three-point line as of late. This could have been the final game that we ever see Evan Fournier play as a Knick. 12 minutes, 0 for 4, 0 for 3 from the three-point line. Did get 1 rebound. And I definitely thought if Evan Fournier would have more of an impact, a positive impact on the Knicks in his entire tenure here, and he did not. He was a disappointment. But shout out to the Knicks organization to pivot away from him despite him having a hefty contract and giving that starting position to a second-year player, or who was going to become a second-year player, who was basically a rookie last season. Grimes was a rookie. So that is shout out to the organization for pivoting there away from Evan Fournier. I don't know where he'll land. I don't know what he'll end up doing, but he definitely is going to have to work on his defense. I think a lot of it is burnout. He has played a lot until this season. Up until the beginning of this season, he had played a tremendous amount of minutes in basketball over almost like a 20-month stretch. because of the pandemic and then the World Games and those Euro basketball games and all this. So he was definitely had I think the Olympics as well. Yeah, he. I think a lot of it is that, but his defense, he's gonna have to work on that. I wish him the best of luck, whatever happens with him. Josh Hart, weird game for him. 10 points, 11 rebounds, but he ends up getting thrown out of the game for 2 technicals. 4 dimes for him, 26 minutes. You would have thought that I would have thought the Knicks would have won this game, man. But you can see the plus minus. Josh Hart was a minus 29. Minus 29. Crazy. Isaiah Hartenstein, a minus 23. Wow. McBride, minus 12. Fournier, minus 16. Once again, another game where the bench were all minus and the starters were all plus. So it's easy to see here. But, when you have Toppin, who's usually off the bench, and Quickly, who's usually off the bench, starting, and they were the 2 who gave you the 30-plus points, they usually are on the bench. So that's why that second unit struggles. And, Fournier just isn't out there that much. So there's some odd kind of rotation matchups there that didn't work out in our favor. But as you can see, Mitch Robinson, a plus 18, and Quentin Grimes, a plus 14. Obi Toppin, a plus 7, same as RJ, plus 7. Quickly finished with a plus 9. Towards the end of the game, when the Knicks had a chance to get back in this game in the fourth quarter, Quickly decided to take over, which he should have, but he took it a little too far. There was a time when RJ was wide open in the left corner, where RJ from the corner is definitely a better percentage shooter than out above the break. He should have fed him there. He didn't. He forced a shot, didn't make the bucket, ended up being a score in the other way. And that was pretty much the game at that point. Even though Quickly did make another a three-point shot later on to kind of tighten it up, but it was really over with at that point. And there's a little bit of frustration you could see, but you can see the players shaking it off because it's the last game of the year. Obi, was ignored sometimes. RJ was ignored sometimes. And those are the kind of things that got to work all that out before you get to the postseason. This week, beginning tomorrow until Saturday, is going to be the most important week for all these players. All of these players. All right, let me look at something else here. As you can see, the Pacers, 7 Pacers in double figures. Mathurin hurt these Knicks. I mean, remember, they shot almost 56% from the three-point line. It's crazy. Such lack of defense. Here are the team stats. All right, I'm going to skip this because I want to get to something else. I'm going to get to this. So Mike Breen on RJ Barrett during the broadcast, in case you missed it, and even if you did hear it, it's definitely worth looking at again. Shout out to New York Basketball for tweeting this out. Mike Breen on RJ Barrett. Because he's only 22, we don't know what his ceiling is, but can guarantee whatever that ceiling is, he's going to reach it because he has a phenomenal work ethic. The ups and downs that happen, he has great poise in how he deals with it. If he can become a more consistent perimeter shooter, he'll just be so much more dangerous on the offensive end. Okay. This being said, it is clearly obvious to me that, yes, when you're looking at the playoffs coming up, of course, we cannot have a repeat of Randall 2 years ago. We can't. If Randall comes back and he's healthy, he cannot repeat his performance from 2 seasons ago. And not only can he not, I don't think he can. He's not the same kind of player. He's not the same kind of player. There are some things that are still lingering. He still gets frustrated here and there, but his decision-making process is so far superior this year than it was 2 seasons ago that I cannot see him repeating the failure that he experienced 2 years ago. I cannot see that. So that's not going to be an issue. Jalen Brunson. I expect him to continue being the dynamo in the playoffs that he was last year And now with the experience of this whole season of being the man, he's going to have an outstanding playoffs. Outstanding. And especially against Donovan Mitchell, who he has hurt in the past. And he hurt the Cavs. Brunson himself. So that's right there. Infinitely better. Now the Cavs are a very good team. They're not someone to take lightly. Even though we've won 3 out of the 4 games versus them this year, and we're even winning in that first game against them until we finally collapsed and gave that game away. This is a good team that we're facing. However, we are a much, much better team than we were 2 years ago. And we are a much better team now than we were at the beginning of this season. And I showed in the previous recap the progression of the offensive and defensive rating numbers, how we have improved tremendously. For the whole season, we are 4th I might even be 3rd now with the way we were scoring, in overall offensive rating in the entire NBA. 4th. But since December 4th, we are 3rd best. That's when Phibbs made that adjustment in rotation. And since Josh Hart has come to this team, we are 2nd best. Now, the defense is an issue. We're going to have to tighten that up. Absolutely. But we match up well defensively versus the Cavs. However, when they have guys like Wade going off crazy, like the others, if one of the other guys start going off, Stevens, or if Ricky Rubio comes in and hits us for like 6 or 7 3-point shots, that's the kind of stuff we can't have happen. But we are the kind of team who can do that to them. Josh Hart, tremendous addition. I've already got into that. Emmanuel Quickley was just a rookie 2 years ago. Now he's going to be 6th man of the year. Randall repeating All-NBA. So the key to this whole story and success for the Knicks is how Thibodeau deals with R.J. Barrett. And the reason I say that is because R.J., his one consistent thing about him is that he's been inconsistent. Some games he's outstanding, a world beater, lining a team up for 40-plus points on like 75% shooting. That's an RJ. He's a guy who sometimes hits, 6 of 9 from the 3-point line. And he might even have 2 games like that. But then the third game, he'll be 1 of 11 from the 3-point line. He'll be 4 of 19 overall. His inconsistency is his one consistency. But when he's on, he makes you lethal. Lethal. So the question is going to be how is Thibs going to deal with RJ's inconsistent inconsistency? Well, one way is to agree up front with RJ that if the 3-point shot is not there in that first quarter, don't try to recapture it in the second. Don't try to recapture it in the third. Now, in the fourth quarter, depending on the situation, if the ball's in your hands and you're in a corner and you're open and we need a 3-point shot, then you take it. You have to take it. But you have to limit your 3-point shooting if you don't got it. That's just a reality of this situation. Because you take a shot attempt away from someone else who has a better chance of making that shot. A Brunson, a Grimes, a Quickley, a Julius. An Obi Toppin. They all can shoot the 3-point shot better than RJ this season. But I personally believe in RJ the way that Breen does as well. This week, beginning tonight, RJ should be in the gym shooting 3-point shots. You have a week, brother, to find that stroke again. And if you find it, here's the other beautiful thing about RJ, his consistent inconsistency. Sometimes he'll shoot 41% for an entire month. For like 15 to 18 games, he'll shoot 40% from the 3-point line. And then sometimes he'll shoot 20. 1%. But there's a chance because they're going to allow you to shoot that three-point shot. They're going to try to bait you into shooting that three-point shot. Well, take it in that first quarter. If you've hit, we've seen how RJ can just roll when he starts feeling it. Well, I don't know, get your trainer in this week. Work on that three-point shot beginning tonight. You, RJ Barrett, are the key to the Knicks making this awesome season become one for the ages. What did Clyde say in the broadcast towards the end? He said, in the regular season is when you make your name, but in the postseason is when you make your fame. Something like that. I may have blown it, but it was something to that extent. And that's true for all of the Knicks on this team, but especially for an RJ Barrett. You've got to play winning basketball. No more driving and hoping. No. Have a plan and make something happen. I couldn't be happier and prouder of this team of ours to finish 47-35 on this. I'm so happy. And we have all of our draft picks. We have a young team. We have, I think, I believe we have the second youngest team that is in the playoffs. I think the Memphis Grizzlies is the youngest team that's in the playoffs. We have the second youngest team that's in the playoffs, and we have all our draft picks, and we have our key guys, RJ, Randall, Brunson, all signed. Mitch signed. We are in a great place right now as a franchise, and things could get even greater in this playoffs right now. I am so hyped, so excited. In a lot of ways, I've been ready for the playoffs for the past 2 weeks. I'm just ready for it. Let's get to it. But we're here now. And I want to thank all of you, every single person who has watched any of these Knicks-Verse videos, anyone who's commented, who sent me messages, everything. I appreciate everything you guys do, all the support, your insight. This is the best fan base there is in sports, and we deserve to be smiling for another month. Let's hope. Fingers crossed. All right, thank you so much for watching this. Of course, there's going to be plenty of Knicks-Verse videos coming up. I might even do a live here and there, do like a team-up with KOT. Going to be trying to do some videos with Keese and Foxy. It's just going to be exciting. Enjoy the play-in games. Definitely watch those, and I will see you around the Knicks-Verse. Knicks are going to the playoffs. Let's go.